Diablo 4 gameplay looks incredible, and it's got me concerned for a whole host of reasons. Diablo Immortal is one of those reasons. So we're going to be taking a look at the Diablo 4 gameplay. We'll be breaking it down, analyzing the different things that stood out, the good, the bad. I'm going to put my thoughts right here at the beginning of this video. I'm going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the future of Diablo 4 in light of everything that's been going on with Diablo Immortal. We did a stream this morning. It was huge. It was massive. Tons of support, breaking down the Starfield gameplay. I did the same thing. I talked about the good, the bad, and my concerns. I'm going to end that stream now and bring everybody over with the redirect. That way they can join us for this discussion. And I'm going to make sure and change that thumbnail so that it shows that we are not live. Now, I give you my thoughts right here at the beginning of the video. That way that you don't have to go looking for them. This is a Reforge update. Diablo 4 gameplay debuted during the Xbox Bethesda Showcase for Summer Game Fest 2022, and it looks incredible. I'm going to give you my thoughts, the good, the bad, and the future of Diablo 4, as well as why we're worried with Diablo Immortal and what's been going on with that game. If you like these quick updates, hit subscribe and the bell button. That way you don't miss my uploads. And check out Reforge Gaming, where I did a live stream discussion about this. So let's just talk about the good, because obviously we've been kind of waiting to see how much better this is going to be compared to previous Diablos. Diablo Immortal looks fine for a mobile game, but folks were really wanting Diablo 4 to stand out. The customization is one of the first things that I was very excited about, really making your character look the way that you want, not just with respect to the armor, but the actual character that you choose. There is clear graphical updates in this game when you see the character customization and the abilities being used. So the graphical upgraded nature of this game is not to be understated. It looks phenomenal. The combat looks smooth, fluid, fast, and intense. It really, I think, is taking the isometric dungeon crawler forward, especially with the open world that they just showed off. And not just the open world, but the world boss fight clearly shows a huge evolutionary step for Diablo. Being able to play Diablo 4 with other people in the open world, these massive boss fights out there on the open landscape, it really, really looked impressive. PvP areas and plenty of incentives to not just PvP or grief. I found that to be a good decision. We'll wait for more details exactly what that looks like how easily can I avoid a PvP area? Is that going to be something that becomes a nuisance for people that want to avoid it or people that want to enjoy it? There are lots of classic classes, so if you're a longtime Diablo fan, you should see that as a good thing. Some people might see that as a potential bad. We'll talk about that in a moment. The Paragon and Endgame seems to be absolutely massive, giving you just a whole host of endgame possibility and loops. Here you can see next to me the world boss fight that just, I think, really showcases how far the game has come for an isometric dungeon crawler, and giving you that endgame with the Paragon and the rotation and just so many skills and things to invest in really looks awesome. The open world and the dungeon count sounds great. It sounds like it's going to be a very massive and expansive world for years to come. That's part of my concern for the future. So let's talk about the bad. Mostly old classes. I'm fine with this, but there might be people that were really hoping for brand new classes or all new classes. I'm totally down with getting into a druid again. I've not played a druid since Diablo 2, so I'm pumped about that. There's already a store that's been announced and addressed. This has some people very irritated. It's cosmetics only, but I saw someone like, I know Josh Strife Hayes is taking issue with that. It's a looter. Let us just get the cosmetics. I don't see this as a bad thing because the size and the scope of these games has gotten to a point that a one-time purchase isn't enough anymore. People disagree with me on that. That's fine. They can disagree with me on that. As long as it's cosmetics only and there's plenty of great earnables in the game, I don't really care about that element of monetization. Now, Diablo Immortal is a huge concern because it could infect the ongoing support and the updates for Diablo 4, because Diablo 4 is a very different style of game, and they may not want to continue to do seasons and ongoing updates and things of that nature if it's not making the same amount of money that Diablo Immortal is making. And then the PvP, is it avoidable? Is griefing possible? Those are all potential bad things. So the future, these are my thoughts about the future. Diablo Immortal is the lowest scoring game of all time on Metacritic, but it's also the biggest launch in Blizzard history. That juxtaposition is alarming and worrisome. This is a rudder turn that that could hurt the Diablo franchise as we know it. The future of Diablo 4 is in doubt in my mind, okay? A great launch doesn't mean years of support if a mobile game is printing money hand over fist, and if people get really angry about them selling cosmetics and they don't monetarily support the game ongoing, then you're going to be surprised at what might happen. Folks griping about selling cosmetics could very much have the reverse effect of what they're trying to have, and you're going to push Blizzard to say, people don't want to support this game monetarily, then why are we going to support it ongoing? Let's shift all of our attention to mobile. Let's shift all of our attention to bad monetization practices that we do in Diablo Immortal. So that's my concern for the future of this title. This is a problem because the game looks amazing and I want to play it, but I am worried. Let me know what you think. As always, hit subscribe and the bell button. Check out Reforge Gaming, where I stream discussions live. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. And I'll see you guys right now. Let's break this down. The gameplay obviously just looks absolutely stunning, absolutely fantastic, undeniably a beautiful and fantastic game, but this is a problem. I am concerned. There's already narratives coming out. There's already anti-cosmetics, anti-microstore narratives out there. And the worry to me, if there was any worry about pay to win, D4 is coming out as a full-price game, but strictly for PC console audience. The game is huge, and there will be tons of content after launch for all players. Paid content is built around optional cosmetic items and eventually full expansions. We'll be sharing more info soon. Right, I'm fine with that as a structure. I am. 5-month milestone for Robert. I have done something to bring our community even closer together. I mixed dark roast and light roast and created medium. Now we can all be friends. There we go. Thank you so much. If you guys haven't smashed the like button yet, come over here and go through the ritual. Switch over to live chat. Smash the like button. Consider becoming a member. Consider ordering some coffee. Those are all great ways to support what we do here every day with multiple shows a day. The issue is the pay to win. There's not going to be pay to win in this game. There's no way they're going to walk out on the field and tell everybody cosmetics only and expansions and then put pay to win in this game. I can't see it. I can't see that being something that they do. It wouldn't survive the console PC world if they did that. Open world PvP could be a problem for the seasonal model. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Certainly could be. They did say, you got to go to zones if you want to do it. I love some of the spells here that we get to see. That snake one looks so good. Yo, what's good? What's good, Wheeze? What's good? Diablo 4 landed number 3 on my hype list after the showcase. I thought it was a great showing. My man Teddy coming in, hitting the 16-month milestone. IGN did a side-by-side of Diablo 4 and Hades, and they're basically the same game. This part right here is what stole the show for me. That right there. This right here. All right? So they show 2 types of world events that can happen. Okay? So we have an ambush that takes place right here. Right? We have an ambush. And then we have a multi-person. So as far as I can tell here, we have 1, 2, 3. We have 4, maybe 5 people in the open world. We have maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 7. A lot of people there fighting this world boss. This right here is what knocked me out of my chair. I was like, that's an evolved Diablo, right? That's a massive treasure chest. Yeah, he's swinging a massive treasure chest. Yeah. Full of loot. Yeah, the shared world events, live events, world bosses. I'm all about that. I am all about that. Extremely pleased with the way this game seems to be shaping up. It looks phenomenal. I'm a little iffy about Diablo 4, so I'd rather wait, says Curse. Everything I'm seeing in this trailer has me very, very excited. This is the kind of gameplay I was hoping for. I want it to feel like a new next-gen-ish, if that's possible, with an isometric. You can never have enough love and support for all you do, and may this journey continue to grow even higher heights. Ink Sanity with a 13-month milestone, man. Thank you so much, dude. So generous. I'm just ready for open world PvP. I'm curious how that part's going to work. I'm really, really curious how that part's going to work, Wheeze, because they said that the way is it going to be griefed like the Dark Zone? Is it going to be something that you're going to have to struggle to avoid? Is it going to be something that everybody avoids, and so people that want a PvP feels like it's just absolutely barren? You know, there's so much about it that could be terrible. Okay, let's do hide user. Some guy wrote a book, like a book of a comment. He's like, I don't like your work, and here's how you should structure your content. So I just like, I'm really glad he spent all that time typing that, and it'll never get read. He put so much thought and effort, and it's just gone. I thought PvP was zoned off. Fields of Hatred have their own specific drops. So you're going to have to go into PvP for particular drops? You think that's how it's going to work? Looks good, and I don't play isometric games. I think it looks phenomenal. Let's see what everybody thinks. Let's grade it. Diablo IV gameplay. How would you grade it? We'll go A, B, C, D again. We'll go A, B, C, D again, just like this morning we did that with the Starfield gameplay. There we go. If players have to go through PvP zones to get missions, etc., then you're going to hurt people trying to level a seasonal character. If you can't do these in the area, your seasonal character's DOA. They said that the PvP rewards would be cosmetic. Really? Really? Different loot tables for sure. I'm sure they'll have PvP exclusive items. Can't imagine there wouldn't be. It's areas called Fields of Hatred. And they have Fields of Hatred specific drops. PvP is zoned off to certain areas, as they've said. Yeah, they say it in this trailer. Yeah. This footage is from the Xbox Series X. It looks awesome. Can't wait to see it on a PC rig. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think this looks phenomenal for console. I hope PvP is optional and can be avoided. I'm glad they confirmed couch co-op, as this is the only game my wife plays with me. Yeah, I can't wait to play this with my wife, man. We played so much Diablo 3, and we played so much Diablo 3 season, and then the seasonal content got really, like, single-player focused. Can we get S tier on the poll? I'm hyped about crossplay, says Siege Master. Maybe a new community game that hopefully lasts longer than New World or Lost Ark. This is definitely a game I could play regularly, 100%. I could 100% play this game regularly without a doubt in my mind. Without a doubt in my mind. Because it's just a matter of what's the ongoing gameplay loop look like. Like, once you get to a certain level, you know, is it going to be like New World and Lost Ark, where once I'm behind, it's light years to get back? Is it going to feel like the end game is something I can do infrequently and still enjoy and still showcase and have great discussions? You know, those are all questions that I have about the game's end game. You know what I mean? Snow really got into Diablo Immortal, so I think this would be an even better fit for us both. Yeah, Diablo Immortal, I'm telling you, if I wasn't a streamer, I'd be playing that game. I would. I don't want to give it a platform because of all the stuff they put in it. I can't see myself doing that, you know? If you guys are enjoying the content, be sure to hit subscribe. Be sure to hit the bell button. We're checking out Diablo IV gameplay, and I think this is a problem. I am worried. The game looks phenomenal, and I really want to play it. And after my experience with Diablo Immortal, I am worried. Is the combat style different than Lost Ark? It'll actually be quite similar to Lost Ark. Cross progression is confirmed. I don't see why not, because it'll be associated with your Battle.net login. Same way as Immortal, you can play on your mobile and then go play PC. It'd be really odd for it not to be cross progression. No release date, no. They're saying early 2023, though. I'm thinking March. I'm worried about crossplay. This means they designed the game to be playable with a controller. I'm afraid the skills will be simplified and there'll be less of them. No, I don't agree with that. They didn't do that. The game, like Diablo 3, plays great on a controller, and Diablo 3 doesn't feel that way to me. It's on PS5. What? This is huge for Xbox, bruh. Console exclusive and all. No, this is gonna be on all platforms. What are you talking about? This will be on PS5. This is not a console exclusive. To be clear, says Rod Ferguson, Diablo 4 is a full-price game built for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox audiences. Yeah. It's a PS5. It's not going to be exclusive to the Xbox. I was getting some buffering. Why are you worried about what concern for Immortal? Okay, so my concern about this game for Immortal, yeah, viewership's acting kind of crazy. I think YouTube's having a conniption. We were in like the 600s and low 500s. Now we're back to like 576. If you guys are having to refresh or there's buffering, I just want you to know it's not me. It is not me. It's something going on with YouTube. It's also on last gen. God of War release date, we're going to find out end of this month, I think. I think God of War lands early November. Okay, so here's my concern about Diablo Immortal. My concern about Diablo Immortal is they're going to have a cosmetic store. It's already being criticized. We haven't even seen it yet, and people are already criticizing it. I like Josh Strife Hayes, but I think he's starting a narrative that could be potentially bad because it's going to drive people away from spending money in this game. There'll be cosmetic-only purchases as well as expansions. If this game doesn't get the monetary support that they want to see, I could see their long-term plans for this game getting cut short, right? There were DLC plans for Diablo 3 that got cut short. They had something that they were going to do after Reaper of Souls, I believe is what it was called, and the Loot 2.0 system. Okay, so didn't know you changed channel name. Happy to be back on your stream. It's so funny how many people are saying that. We've been over here under this name since early this year. We actually started streaming over here, the talk show, last year September, and then we rebranded in January. It's so funny how many people are finding us. Yo, Glock with a brand new membership. Enjoy the dope badge and emotes. You're dope and deserve dope stuff. If you guys want to be a part of our Discord or members only content that we do on Thursday afternoons and Friday nights, we do Friday night streams with my wife. Consider becoming a member. It supports the stream directly. Consider ordering some of our coffee. The coffee's not a sponsor. It is delicious. And if you're a coffee drinker and you've never had coffee with balanced acidity, you should check it out. Dark Roast was shipped this morning. So stoked to try it. Oh, I'm so glad. So glad. We already had a couple coffee orders this morning. If you guys are new and haven't been here before, hit subscribe, hit the bell button. Usually, let me pause the gameplay. Usually I am in this scene and we're doing a talk show. But we did a Starfield gameplay breakdown this morning, and now we're doing another gameplay breakdown of Diablo, and we want to know what you think. There's a poll at the top of the chat. Take the poll and smash the like button. It's free to subscribe, it's free to hit like, and it's free to take the poll. Now, I am a Safe for Work broadcaster, right? I am a Safe for Work broadcaster. A lot of people throw me on in the background of their day like a video game podcast, and they can do it. They can do it in confidence, knowing that I am safe for work. Did you see Asmongold's worries about D4 Endgame? No, no. WTF, it keeps buffering. Yeah, I don't know why it would keep buffering. It's not me. I've got great bit rate. I haven't had. Let me check my Ethernet. No, we have very steady bit rate. We have very steady bit rate right now. Something on YouTube's end. Never stop streaming. Always been Monday to Friday. There's a little chart from Xbox that shows what's day one Game Pass. Diablo isn't one of them. Yeah, they said all games were shown were day one Game Pass. Nope. You Xbox guys, you gotta watch more critically. You gotta watch more critically, man. Not buffering at all. Hello, what's good, Stefan? There are plenty of games that are day one Game Pass. There were plenty of games that are not. Right? There are lots of games that are not day one Game Pass, man. Some of you guys have got to go back and watch and see the official list. You think because you saw Game Pass, it's going to be day one Game Pass. That is not necessarily true. We are 26 members from another emote unlock. You guys went crazy. Hyped about Diablo 4? Same. Diablo 4 quarterly update blog. You're going to read it when it drops. If it drops within this window, yes, we will take a look at that. If you're just tuning in, we are talking about Diablo 4 gameplay, why I'm concerned. My concerns are primarily related to Diablo Immortal. The monetization structure for Diablo 4 is going to be built around cosmetic items and expansions. And if the narrative that that's wrong and they shouldn't do that gets foothold, they might say, listen, we're going to make way more money. We're going to make way more money with Diablo Immortal, right? Diablo and Overwatch, I believe. No, the official list, Diablo is not day one Game Pass. It's not. Somebody posted the list in the stream, and unless I looked at it wrong, it's not. It isn't. Right? Can we get 200 likes on the video? Man, there's a lot of people here. Roll that over. Let's actually set our sights on 300 likes. Let's set our sights on 300 likes. Keep it going. There it is. Oscar just gifted 10 memberships. You guys that get memberships can enjoy a weekly membership AMA. We did 3 streams over the weekend with my wife. We did 3 parts to The Quarry. We almost never do that. So as a new member, you can go back and watch that, okay? We usually only do 1. Benjamin grabbed 1. Josh grabbed 1. Zoracle grabbed 1. Gabriel grabbed 1. And that's 4 of the 10 already grabbed. That's what I said. Overarching in Diablo or not? Oh, they're not. Okay, Mo. Mo's saying they're not. Wayne's grabbed a membership. There's 5 memberships to grab. Click in chatter at the top of the chat and then click allow gifts to get yourself a free channel membership. Since Blizzard deal, it's not finished, they can't confirm a release on Game Pass. It's going to be pay to win, so no thanks. There's no signs that this will be pay to win. They've gotten out in front of that and said that there will be paid cosmetics and there'll be paid expansions. Joshua Taylor grabbing the 6th membership. We need 4 more people to grab memberships, guys. Make sure and do that. Yeah, we finished The Quarry last night. Yes, we did. Here's an update on Diablo with Game Pass. If players needed confirmation, the recent 12th of June Xbox Bethesda conference confirmed Diablo 4 will launch on Game Pass day 1. Where did you get that? Where did you get that? Because Diablo 4 in their little picture doesn't show that. It shows Diablo 2023 and there's no Game Pass above it. Barrier's image right above yours distorted, so I'm not sure where you're getting your news, but the official Xbox stream doesn't show that. Misfit Headquarters grabbed a membership. Nezorn, Jimmy, and Matt all grabbed memberships. There we go. No, we're not co-streaming Capcom. It's not even on their promo image. If you guys just grabbed a membership, it's a really great idea to get into our Discord. We're going to have a huge community game night on June 24th. That's a Friday. That is a Friday, June the 24th. Fall Guys goes free to play on all platforms on the 21st. Jinx and Polygon both said Diablo 4 is day 1. I mean, I trust Polygon about as far as I can throw them. Xbox isn't saying that. The official Xbox blog doesn't say that. I don't know why these bloggers are saying it. Yo, Christian coming in and renewing that membership. Thanks for stepping back in as a member. Guys, make sure and take the poll at the top of the chat. Let's look at the poll results. Already 400 votes. Diablo 4 gameplay. How would you grade it? A, B, C, or D? 54% are giving it an A. 31% are giving it a B. C and D are way down at the bottom. Just haters, I guess. Gameplay looks so good. My favorite part's the shared world and the world boss. Like the thing we just watched. This is my favorite part. Is the world events and the world boss. It's like my absolute favorite thing that they showed. DLC and cosmetics I'm fine to pay for and spend extra to have. When it comes to making my characters look amazing and different than other players, I don't mind throwing some money at it every now and then. Reading helps. 2023. What do you... I said that. I said 2023. It doesn't have the Game Pass banner. What are you talking about? Are you saying they should read it and that would help? Because I I read it and relate it to chat exactly as it shows it, is that there's no Game Pass banner, and it's 2023. We're looking forward to World Bosses 2. It looks awesome. That looks sick. I hope there are 6 mounts. Oh, not you, them. Yeah. The official Xbox website is showing that Diablo's not Game Pass. That's Game Pass promo image. Yeah, it's literally a Game Pass promo image and Diablo doesn't have it. Looks like Chinese graphics? How do graphics look Chinese? What does that even mean? Imagine that you and all your buddies are fighting, and sadly, I have no friends wanting to play Diablo. Hey, you got a great community here that's more than likely a ton of people are going to be playing it here. If it's only cosmetics, okay, says Raphael. No XP boost, no drop rate enhancer, or that sort, please. It also says Halo Season 3 is on Game Pass when it's free to play game, just saying. Sometimes you need an extra image to line up for your desired look. I think it was a joke, and yes, I know it doesn't buffer for everyone. I'm being helpful by pointing out it's not Lono's connection, that's the problem. What help are you providing? Hey, Ferryman, come on. Stop buying guns. It's fine here in Canada. I'm in the UK. It has buffered. I don't understand what you're even saying, Ferryman. What did I miss today? We did a Starfield gameplay breakdown, and now we're taking a look at the Diablo gameplay. I think Diablo IV Seasons will be pay to play for seasonal changes. Yeah, $10 maybe, or like a battle pass every season. Foxhound says, if you can buy cosmetics, are you really going to look different than other players that can pay for that as well? No sense in earning something social anymore in games. I am always of the opinion that I want to earn my my cosmetics. I'm always of that opinion. I want to go out and get stuff. I never want to pay for anything. Now, sometimes there's an outfit or a weapon or something like a transmog that's just too good to ignore, right? So I do sometimes like take the bait. I'm like, ooh, that's too pretty to not buy, right? But for the most part, yeah, I don't do that. Really curious about the Flintlock game. Flintlock looked really good. Yeah, I thought Flintlock looked very good. Paid seasons kill me now. I'm thinking they would probably not do paid seasons, Spooky, but they would do an enhanced season like a battle pass that you'd spend like $10 on. So here you can get a look at some of the customization that you can do to your character prior to even putting armor on them. So here's what you can do: tattoos and things, and skin tone and hair, glowing eyes. And there's a guy decked out. I'm anxious to see what some of the druid stuff. Don't make me pull the truck over and monitor chat, y'all. I want my cosmetics to cost blood, sweat, and tears, so when you see it, you know I'm better than you. What do we have here? Explore 140 plus dungeons throughout the campaign and beyond in a versatile procedurally generated experiences. So the dungeons are going to be procedurally generated. Tackle droves of side quests for even more ways to earn rewards while deepening the story experience. Defeat world bosses by teaming up with other players to reap bonus treasures from these colossal demons. Liberate strongholds that, once cleansed of corrupted demons and hostile beasts, become friendly outposts to forever alter the layout of the world. Join PvP mayhem within designated zones. Build Paragon boards, which allow players optional paths to continue advancing and customizing their character beyond max level. Seek out the Tree of Whispers and complete contracts to unlock further world objectives and bounties in pursuit of legendary gear. Brave nightmare dungeons and put your skills to the ultimate test and with enhanced demonic dangers. Nice. Oh, that's from a press kit. Okay. Let me see how far Oscar put us. We are 15 members away from an emote unlock. 15. I don't even know which one we were going to do. I think we're going to do Lono Blind, I think. Based on the game having mounts, do you think that the world will be most ambitious Diablo yet? I mean, I think an open world Diablo is ambitious. It is, because I think it's harder. I think it's harder to make games like this feel big and expansive because they're isometric and they're sort of part and parcel with more stripped down, more dungeon style content that feels more contained, that feels more sort of hemmed in. And I think that's harder. I think that's harder to make it feel large and big and expansive. I mean, the way they do it in Lost Ark, I mean, they use ships, they use islands, they use all these different things, and that can start to feel almost as if it's too big, right? It can start to feel like you're almost getting swallowed. So I think there's a delicate balance. I think there's a delicate balance between games, that feel awesome and feel big, and games that feel almost like they swallow you in futility. You feel like you can't even come up for air because of the way that they build the worlds and stuff. And I think isometric dungeon crawlers are probably the harder ones to land, So I think it'll be interesting because, giving you a horse, giving you other types of mounts. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to be selling mounts. Not that they'll have in-game benefits, but they'll just look cooler. If you want to ride on the back of something that's not just like a horse and something, something more menacing. Do you think this could become your main game? I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to have a main game because this channel is primarily building itself on being a talk show, not a place where there's tons of gameplay. Now, gameplay happens, and it happens in small doses as a way to kind of like end the day, or things of that nature. So I don't know. In my mind, this is still primarily a talk show channel, and if we dig in too much with a game, we tend to lose people. People want to kind of like listen to me talk and listen to the talk show and listen to the breakdowns. So I think that there's elements to that I have to consider. There can obviously be games. I've been hoping for games that allow for more casual engagement so that we could visit them like once a week. Play grinds, team up with some of you homies and do some dungeons and stuff. Do that once a week as a weekly segment, as a weekly community builder, I think we go back into single title coverage. It'll be a segment much like From Friday. Right. It would be like something like we do on From Friday with the, Elden Ring. Even then, I think the challenge is always going to be there's tons of channels out there already that are deeply embedded into Diablo, so it'll be tough to cut into that market, Starfield is going to be a game we could probably put a ton of time into and garner new viewership and followers and subs because there aren't like Starfield YouTubers, So Quarry Mondays, yeah. Because to a certain extent, like one of the reasons we're having a lighter turnout right now than when compared to Starfield is because there's so many Diablo YouTubers that have already chopped this up, covered this. They've already undercut any new content you could make with this. There's nothing wrong with them doing that, but that makes it harder as a YouTuber to like plant your flag in it. As long as the game will be social and won't have that single player feel, it will not be Diablo. It will be something else. Party is great, but only if you choose to meet people on the go. Well, I definitely think it will feel very different to be in an open world social Diablo. Just how it felt in Diablo Immortal was different. Like people in towns, you'd go to kill something, and then you'd be standing there combing over your loot, and somebody else would come to kill it, and thankfully it would instance the enemy, so you could just kind of stand there and keep doing your thing. But it definitely gave the game a different feel. It certainly did. The lightning looks amazing in this game. Yeah, the quality. This right here again is my favorite part, and that's where I would live. I would live in dungeons and world boss fights, especially if the world bosses have the chance to drop like really really good stuff. I love that image. I just wish he didn't look like Marilyn Manson. Other than that, I thought the Necro was pretty cool. I don't know why they had to make him look like Marilyn Manson. He looks just like him. As long as microtransactions don't become scummy, I'm willing to drop some money into cosmetics. Is there other gameplay we can watch? We are 34 minutes in, and the train's running out of steam. We gotta do something else. Do they have other gameplay on their channel for us to take a look at? They've got quarterly update blogs, but I don't know. Do they show gameplay in those quarterly update blogs? No, it doesn't look like it. They have a lot of Resurrected stuff on their channel. They have trailers for the they have a trailer for the Rogue. They have a gameplay trailer, an official gameplay trailer. Can see skill trees and stuff. Okay. We need something. We need something else to showcase. That video is super short, and we're already out of gas. We made it 34 minutes before we started hitting a wall. There's Necromancer gameplay. I don't know. I don't agree with that take at all. It has always been social. Diablo 2 was one of the first games I really played online with a full co-op game. It has never been a solo experience. I don't think the open social aspect will be a problem for the game. It's still going to be Diablo in its play. In my humble opinion, I believe the social aspect will add a lot of positives. I 100% agree with that. I think it'll feel different, but I don't think it's going to feel different in a negative way. I think it'll feel different in the way that, like, it'll feel more expanded, right? You know? There's an interview with gameplay yesterday. Who did the interview? And where's the Necromancer gameplay? Who has that? Does somebody actually have that uploaded somewhere? The Paragon skill tree looks intense. What, do we get some Sorceress gameplay here? Yeah. Oh, we got the IGN Necromancer Explained. Okay, we'll take a look at that in a moment. Yeah, we need something new to watch, because when the video is really short and loops that quickly, we lose people real quick, because they're like, you know, they've already seen it. Oh, here's Druid. No, that's not Druid. That looks like, oh, that's Druid. Yeah, he turned into a bear. Okay. So it seems like the Druid's going to have like a morphing tree, I guess. The ability to turn into a bear, as opposed to summon. I wonder if you can go summon versus morph. Diablo has always been social, says Wheeze. Yeah, I got a link to the IGN video in the Discord from Paul. We'll take a look at that in a moment. I just want to showcase as much fresh gameplay as we possibly can. Some legendaries. Okay. Barbarian. That might be a world boss. It's friggin' huge. Okay. Alright, let me pull open the IGN video. Necromancer Explained. We're not going to listen to it, obviously. Let me try to get to gameplay. No, we've seen that. In development. Do they get... In development, not final. Okay, here we go. Alright, so he's going down to a cave here. He's got a lot of summoned guys with him. So it looks like he's got some skellies and like a golem type guy. The bigger guy. Punching. Okay, hang on. Here we're getting to look at some stuff. Okay, so in development content, not final. So we have character, we have Book of the Dead, and we have abilities. So here, your skeletal warriors, you can make them skirmishers, defenders, and reapers. And he's selecting an upgrade. Okay. And now he's backed out. Skeletal Warriors, Skeletal Mages, and the Golem. Okay, so that was a Golem. Okay, so you can see here he's got these guys set to Defenders. The Skeletal Mage is set to Shadow, and the Golem's set to Blood. Okay, Skeletal Mages. Shadow. Select an upgrade. Each time your Cold Mages damage enemies with their primary attack, you gain 2 Essence. Enemies who are frozen by or damaged while frozen by your Cold Mage's primary attack are made vulnerable for 3 seconds. Sacrifice. You deal times 15% increased damage to vulnerable enemies, but you can no longer raise Skeletal Mages. Okay, so we're going to look at some of the way you can build. Yo, it's good, Talica. We've seen all this. This is like B-roll at this point. This is just like B-roll. Okay, some new. Yeah, this is definitely new footage because they have the in development content, not final. So that's that guy's doing like wizarding stuff, but he's real big and bulky. So it seemed as though, I don't know, that seemed like a barbarian, but he was also spellcasting. AoE attacks look sick, look slick. As long as Jay Wilson's name isn't anywhere near this. Why? What would be the reasoning behind that? Figured out the controller on Disney Speedstorms. I've been playing the closed beta. It's pretty awesome. It looked really good. All right, after this video, we'll take a look at the skill trees. We got articles about how they're reinventing customization as well. Man, YouTube's having problems. It's such a bummer to have such a strong start, and now that we're on Diablo, which is the game I was, just as excited about, YouTube is clearly having problems. We are just losing chunks of viewers at a time. If you're dealing with buffering, I'm only addressing it so that you know it's not me. It is not my stream or my quality. It is 100% YouTube having some problems today. Yo, Steve. Stephen Marson with a $10 tip through Super Chat. Thank you so much. Barbarians use shouts. How's the open world going to work? Region or server based? Or only average of 8 players in the world? Jay Wilson was in charge of initially making Diablo 3 with the Real Money Auction House. Oh. So he predates like Reaper of Souls and Loot 2.0. Yeah, we've already seen all this. Okay. D4 looked amazing. Yeah, take the poll at the top of the chat. I'm not really sure what's happening with YouTube. We had this crazy strong start, and now I think people are having to refresh because there's some kind of a buffering thing happening. It's not affecting everybody. It could be region-based, could be mobile-based. I'm not really sure. I'm scared about this game. I'm not as hype as I used to be when the Diablo game came out. Blizzard's greed destroyed every game they touched. Yeah, there's a lot of people concerned about that because of Diablo Immortal. I'm one of those people. Jay Wilson doesn't even work in game development anymore. Can we get 3 more likes on the vid? We could at least have a strong poll and strong like presence, even though YouTube's doing something. They're I don't know, they're crapping the bed again. I really hope it's because they're continuing to update the UI. We're hoping to see some of those UI changes very soon. Both the live streaming and just channel layout and stuff. I've seen some very promising things in the background. Mobile pay to win, no issues here. Yeah, I don't think the game's going to be pay to win because they've already kind of spoken out about how like this is made for the PC and the console crowd, and there'll be optional cosmetics and expansions. That to me is exactly what you do for the console crowd. You know, I don't know why they have the in development content not final, because this was in their reveal. That was in the reveal, that world boss fight. Or maybe it wasn't. This seems like dimmer footage for some reason. I'm gonna need you to get me a steak at some point this week. We hit 1,500. I have to do steak with ketchup. She said just go to McDonald's and get a hamburger, or go to Steak and Shake. We'll just use what's here. Okay. Immortal's a mobile game doing mobile things. Diablo 4 will not be immortal. I think it's longer gameplay. Yeah, they're showing a lot more of the open world here. Just fighting in the open spaces. And now I want McDonald's. Thanks, madam. Everything said about Diablo 4 made me happy. Worried more about what they didn't say. Pre-Diablo Immortal was waiting for this game above all others. I just hope they don't mess with Diablo 4. I think the whole steak challenge should be the fact that you have to use ketchup on a good steak, not something crappy. Yes, no, that's the whole spirit of it. Yes, I agree. I'm going to get a steak from the actual butcher and reverse sear it. I actually thought we would never hit 1,500 members. But, you know, we're halfway through the month. And we did. All right, let's take a look at the okay. What am I looking for in here? It's a good press kit. All right, so we got a press kit here with... Can I zoom in on that? Open image in new tab. Oh, it just does that? Okay, there we go. So this is like this is what they're doing for the menu system. Is Madam going to play Elden Ring? She already did. You can go watch the VOD as a member. This is very reminiscent of Diablo 2's inventory system. Very reminiscent. Reminds me of that quite a bit, actually. Here it is in... here it is sort of like... in practice. Subaru got a blip. Yeah, there's all kind of blips happening. It's not me. I'm not having any problems. Where the blank is he reading these comments? All barely relative. Does anyone know how server population will be structured? Servers based, region based, only 8 to a world? Okay, I read your question a while ago and I answered you and I said, I don't know. Nobody knows. Like, calm down, man. No reason to be, like, rude because you didn't get an answer to your question. Does anybody here work for Blizzard? Like, if the information's out there, we'll do our best to relay the information to you, but I can't talk about things I don't know about. So here we're seeing a magic staff, rare staff, legendary staff. We got sell values, we got durability ratings. Yo, what's good, Vic Gaming? Okay. We've got... So that was comparisons. Here's like a bunch of... Here's like a bunch of legendaries. Now, I'm not seeing set bonuses, so that may be something that you get later. Because the set bonuses... The way they did set bonuses in Diablo 3, wasn't it that the green gear? Because I'm not seeing a set bonus, because this is a Perilous Tread. Tunic and boots, a Perilous Tread, and I'm not seeing any mention of a set bonus. That doesn't mean there aren't, but I'm not seeing it on those. Now, what's unique? Is unique higher than legendary? During the IGN interview, they mentioned how legendary abilities can roll on any item slot and can be extracted and placed in new gear. Unique items are probably just named. Oh, like you get these from bosses. Kilt of the Plaguebringer. Stormwalker's Cudgel. Mad Wolf's Glee. Yeah. Like, named items from bosses, probably. Be my assumption. Oh, here's what leveling up looks like. They have an animated GIF. Oh, like, look at him kind of bobbing up in the corner. Like your character. Oh, this is nice. This is also streamlined. It looks really good. Looks really, really good. Skill tree, not final. I mean, it's hard to see exactly what they're going for there, but it looks cool. It looks really cool. What do we have here? Ball lightning, skill slot effect, enchant slot effect. You can enchant it. Okay. It's an actual tree. Yeah, like it's an actual tree. They're getting pretty literal. Yeah, so it looks like you'll literally go comb over it. That's kind of crazy. Wait, there's 4 more here. They have animations for some of the shots. This is skill tree Sorceress. Hang on. So Ice Blades, you can upgrade, increase the summon duration of your Ice Blades by 5 seconds, and then another upgrade. Ice Blades now emit a brief chill aura with each attack, chilling nearby enemies. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Necromancer gameplay. These are all just PNGs, just images. Dev update screenshots. Just showing stuff off. Rogue screenshots. We looked at all of this. 4 more. What do we have here? Yeah, here's another thing. Wait a minute. What is this? Skill tree for the Barbarian. Fury Whirlwind. Fury costs 10 per second. Rapidly attack enemies for 39 to 47. Deals physical. Arsenal selection. Glory Serpent. So you can choose what you do this with? So am I to understand this means I can have different abilities that pull out a different weapon? Yo, what's good, Tingle Style? How are you? Yeah, it says it's on auto select. I wonder if you can like select different weapons. Like if there's certain weapons that do certain abilities stronger, can you literally have that set up to do? You pull that weapon out for that ability. That could add some interesting build possibilities. Okay. That's all that. And then this GameSpot article. How Diablo IV reinvents the Necromancer. Okay, this is all from Rod Ferguson. He's just puff piecing all the ways to play. How are you dealing with the pressure? Okay. Speaking of the Necromancer, obviously a character that now has some legacy to it, but also I imagine that a lot of fans are going to be expecting to see something brand new as opposed to a returning character. What was the decision-making process for bringing back the Necromancer instead of going, here's something that no one's seen before? In a lot of ways, Diablo IV is a love letter to our fans. We've really focused on this theme of returning to darkness. And we know that when we make a Diablo game, fans have a lot of expectations for Diablo 2. From Diablo 2 Resurrection, Diablo 3 and previous Diablo experiences that they've enjoyed. So we know we have a lot of things that really just need to be there. And when we're looking at classes themselves, we wanted to make sure that the kinds of experience players remembered fondly from previous Diablo games were available, and also bring them into most modern versions themselves. And Diablo 4 is really about choice. You can make so many more choices than ever before with your classes. They're more expansive than ever, and even with a Necromancer, for example, you've got things like full character customization. You've also got our unique class feature, the Book of the Dead, which allows you to customize and have a lot of choice in how your minions are deployed on the battlefield, which minions you have, and how they behave, and even if you want to have minions at all. Ferguson says, yeah, you can sacrifice them, right, to make yourself more powerful as your shadow magic. That's what I love about the new Necromancer. It's really around that idea of choice. I'm a big Necro player, and I always have this like, oh, I've got skeletons, I've got mages, I've got a golem, but my ability to control what I have and when I use them was a little bit more limited in the previous versions. Sure, you could choose to use a sword to make an iron golem and that kind of thing, but the Book of the Dead is this new feature that all the classes in Diablo 4 have a feature that's unique to just that class. And the Necromancer has the Book of the Dead where you decide, oh, I can make skeleton warriors. What skeleton warriors do I want? Aggressive, defensive? Do I want ones that create corpses for me to use as raw materials? And then, oh, you can have mages. Okay, well, what mages do I want to use? I can have a golem. What kind of golem do I want to use? And so you can mix and match your warriors, your mages, and your golem to really create and customize the army that you have with you. And you never really had that experience before, and that's really one of the things that makes the Necro really unique and interesting. So it sounds like they're giving you like a second layer of customization on top of your characters, right? So they're talking about customization. Story is non-linear, so you can choose how you want to play. PvE versus PvP. So do you want to go and take on the story campaign content, or do you want to go and fight other players, and it's in one of our PvP areas? And when you do, and then who do you want to play with is a choice, right? You can play solo. It's a great game solo, but you can party up. You can be in a clan. So everything along the way is really about what you decide you want to do. And so that's why we talk about Diablo 4 being about choice. Because pretty much every step along the process, there are some things that you have agency over, and you can decide how you want to play the game. Can you talk a bit about the construction and the design of the dungeons? Because there are over 100, so the natural question becomes, is if it's over 100 of the same looking dungeon reconfigured, or is it 100 handcrafted dungeons that have meaningful reasons to be there? I'm actually interested in this. So one of the things that's really exciting about Diablo 4 is that because we have this shared open world that exists as a template, the dungeons are actually in places in the world that you're going to explore, and that gives dungeons a real sense of place. So when you go into that particular dungeon, you're going to see the tile set that's associated with that dungeon, that type of art. We have a wide variety of these. You're also going to see the monsters that live in it. Here we go. But when the dungeon rolls, it is randomly generated within those parameters. The monsters will be differently configured. You're going to see different champions. You're going to see different affixes. You're going to see a different layout for the dungeon. On top of that, each dungeon has a dungeon objective. So when you go in, you might have an objective to slay a boss, but you might have an objective to track down 3 fallen idols and disable them. And so the completion objective for the dungeon is unique to each dungeon as well. Ferguson's going to expand. It's what dungeons are known for in Diablo, is the idea of them being procedurally generated, where each time you go in, it's a slightly different experience. And one of the things I really like when we play is that you go in and you don't know the objective. There's not some magical person at the door telling you the reason. how you complete this is you have to go in and discover the objective, which is really fun. And the dungeons actually play really well into our end game. Not only do you have the dungeons that you're doing when you're playing through the campaign regularly for, say, new gear or particular thing, but at the end, all of a sudden you have nightmare dungeons. That looks good, creature. So because dungeons exist in the world, they're real places. As you're doing the endgame activities... Hang on, I gotta lower the brightness on this. It's starting to hurt my eyes today. As you're doing endgame activities, where even more choice becomes available from the Whispers, the Nightmare Dungeon to the expanded Paragon System that we revealed is a little sneak peek into the video there. You can upgrade the dungeons with these sigils to make them Nightmare Dungeons, and they become more dangerous. The additional affixes applied to them that make the monsters more dangerous can even give you advantages. I love this. So you can take any dungeon and turn it into a Nightmare Dungeon? You get a wide variety of sigils with all kinds of affixes to them, so there's once again player choice in which sigils you want to do. And if you get a sigil that is for a dungeon that you don't think is well suited to your class, you can just skip that one to a different one. Ferguson, Nightmare Dungeons are our take on rifts. And so if you play Diablo 3, there would be a thing in town and you would just go and it opens a portal and off you go to standing in a town to over and over and over. And now we have these Nightmare Dungeons, which is like running a rift in a way, but in the sense of place. And so Joe has sigils, I have sigils, and we're like, okay, where do we want to go? We have to go somewhere now. Okay, let's mount up, get on our horses, and we're going to ride west. And because that dungeon has a particular type of loot that we want to have our type of gear that we want to get. And so I love that feeling of place and not just grabbing a portal in town every time. You're about to hit 2.25 million total views on this channel. Thank you. Can you please explain affix? Yeah, I don't know what that is. I was assuming it was like the stuff in the dungeon. Can you link this page? Yeah, hang on. Yeah, what's an affix, Paul? Do you know? Affixes are bonuses and modifiers. Okay. Like I said earlier, this sounds a lot like ESO, which delves with delves and veteran delves, where the harder version has a specific loot farm. The affix is the name of the monster that determines their ability. Oh. So strongholds. Strongholds are a key part of the open world. We really wanted the player to be able to meaningfully make changes to the world and for actions to have an effect on what's happening to the world of Sanctuary. So when you encounter these strongholds, there's a variety of them in different areas. And there'll be some that have been overrun with monsters. By clearing them out, you'll be able to restore them to a relatively safe place for Sanctuary. Non-player characters will show up and you can unlock side quests. Additional dungeons can be revealed as a consequence, and the strongholds will be transformed as a result of your factions and the character throughout. It's interesting, when you're playing, strongholds are, in RPG terms, instances where essentially it's private. And so when you get to a stronghold, when you go to liberate a stronghold, it's a private moment. So you go in with your party and you go and you do that fight, but as soon as you win the fight, that area flips into a social space. So now it becomes, as Joe was just saying, it could be a town, it could be a dungeon, it could be a new waypoint to teleport to, but now the other players can be in there as well. And so that idea of going through and finding all these private strongholds that you flip into social spaces that provide you the benefit to help navigate the world, near new gear and loop through a dungeon, those sorts of things, it's a fun way to change the world as you're playing. Affix, would go on the beginning of the name of the dungeon. So it'd be like Deadly Dungeon 1, and it would modify the dungeon. Got it. Yeah. How's that work with local events? Local events are dynamic things that are occurring in the world over time. And so as you're running through the world, maybe you're going to do a quest or maybe you're going to find a dungeon, you might run across a local event. There are lots of different events that can occur, and they exist for a period of time. So you might run through the same area, and one time there's an event, and there's another time where there's not. And that event you might see might be different as well. When you're doing the event, you can encounter other players who are doing the event at the same time because it's a shared world there. Sorry, so it sounds like they're going to instance you in, right? They're going to instance you in when the event happens. So, okay, 38 minutes. So that way there's like people there with you, right? That to me seems like what they're trying to do. They're trying to create this idea of like it's an open world, you're roaming around, then this thing starts, and then there's going to be people there with you. They're going to like instance people in so that you're not like by yourself for whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's actually a really good way of doing it personally. In D2, they use runes to change gear. You can use multiple runes to make rune words and supercharge the gear. If they are using a similar system to modify the dungeons, that could be amazing. Let's see. This is about local events. They're indicated on your map, so as you're riding along, you'll see, oh, there's an event, a shared event happening over there, and so you can steer off into it and bring your party with you. And then because it's on the map, others will see it too, so you can go do it together, and it's a great opportunity because then it has the optional feeling of, hey, we work together. Do you want to party up? Hey, let's just accomplish this one goal. We're all going to get our gear from it and move on. But if that's the feeling, that just the things are happening in the world. But it's that feeling that there's always things happening in the world. You're not always just going to be beelining a golden path towards something because as you're going, they'll be like, oh, I see a dungeon on the map. Oh, I see a shared event coming up. Oh, wow, a world boss is about to appear. Let's all go do that because I want to get gear from that. Or even the small stuff. Oh, there's a treasure golem that's now going to drag me halfway across the world because I try to chase them down to get hopefully a legendary item from it. So there's lots of things to interact with in the world. Like, to me, everything they're saying, like, they just he's describing it in a way where he understands how to build a really enjoyable content loop, like an open world content loop, you know? A month or two after the game launches, we'll see even more microtransactions. There's no way to know that. The real money auction house existed, plus Blizzard's Overwatch is what started the loot box trend. Not going to get this until a month or two after it's passed, after launch, and there's no monetization. Well, Ferguson has spoken out. The guy in this interview has spoken out about monetization, and he said that there will be cosmetic-only store. There'll be a cosmetic-only store and expansions that can be purchased. So, the what you're claiming, if your prediction comes true, then there'll be verifiable, just flat-out lies that were told to the community. Which I'm not saying it won't happen. But to the degree that you're saying it will happen, I don't think your confidence in your statement is granted at the moment. Especially considering they got all that crap out of Diablo 3 and it's been massively successful without all that nonsense. I guess it helps if you're leveraging crossplay across both PC and console. What's it been like to see Diablo from this incredibly niche PC game to now a game that anyone can play on console? For me, it's pride, excessive. Okay, this is just fluff. Touching on PvP, is there a specific structure or a way that you're implementing that? Is it a formalized process, or is it as you're running around and suddenly you're marked and now everyone's after you? Fields of hatred. So the way I would describe it is that certain areas of the world have been corrupted by these fields of hatred, and when a player enters one of these areas, they can be attacked by other players. They're opting in. They have to mark themselves to be attacked. Shelly. You can mark yourselves if you want to engage with other players who are not hostile, but at any time when you're inside one of these areas, you can be attacked by other hostile players. And there are other monsters in the area as well. And when you're in one of these areas, there's an additional currency that you can get, these Shards of Hatred. But in order to trade in these Shards of Hatred for exclusive rewards related to PvP, cosmetic armor sets, and some other cool stuff, you need to convert them out in the field, in the area where you might be attacked. But if you're attacked and slain while carrying them, you'll drop them, and the victor can steal them from you. It's a very dynamic area, and it's entirely optional too. We let you know when you're entering the area, so if you don't want to engage in PvP, you're not missing out. Have they said only the quotes I saw said anchored in? I mean... Hang on. He had a tweet earlier that somebody showed me. Oh, right here, right here. We are committed to delivering an incredible breadth of content after launch for years to come, anchored around optional cosmetic items and full story-driven expansion. More details soon. So he's talking about the breadth of content to come for years to come, anchored around. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, here's another tweet from him. This game is huge and there will be tons of content after launch for all players. Paid content is built around optional cosmetic items and eventually full expansions. We'll be sharing more info soon. So it's built around cosmetics and expansions. Yeah, you're a loot pinata because people are going to want to kill you once you have a lot of these shards. It's one of those things I love about this when you're collecting these charges of hatred. If you're having success as a PvP player and you continue to take on other players and win, you get to this point where you're marked and you're like, oh, we know there's this high-value PvP player out there, and it's almost a call for people to come and get and attack you. And this is a bounty on your head because whoever collects those shards can go and turn them in for big rewards. And so that idea is that if you're really strong, more people are going to know about you and be able to hunt you down. They haven't closed the door. Well, sure, they haven't closed the door. I mean, here's the thing, though, Eugene. This is why I'm not concerned about this. I'm concerned about this in a completely different way, okay? I'm concerned about this in a completely different way. The game that they've built and the things that they've shown us and the screenshots that I looked at on the press kit, okay? This game's not built for it. Diablo Immortal is literally built for pay to win. As soon as those early screenshots started coming out, that guy made his video, Asmongold reacted to it, we watched it. It was like super clear from moment one that Diablo Immortal was going to be pay to win as soon as we got a glimpse at how the game was built. Everything we're seeing with Diablo 4 is that there's no real room for it. They'd have to literally change the fabric of how you level, change the fabric of how you advance and progress and get strong, the end game, the dungeons, all of it, okay? You also have to consider that PvP in this game is probably where the danger would lurk, right? Those shards, the ability to get those shards and level, a currency specific to PvP, that's where I'd see them wedging it in. I don't know if they'd wedge it in and hurt the core game, which is PvE, and the core game of like leveling and dungeons and everything. Same company also said you can't buy gear in Immortal. Yeah, that guy said you can't buy gear in Immortal. I don't know, did Blizzard ever come out and make an official statement stating that, or did he state that on a forum and then got drugged for it? Because he either spoke out of turn or he was hair splitting. You know what I mean? You can't buy gear, it's gems. I mean, that's just such a hair split, man. What do you mean you can't buy gear? You can buy gems that enhance your gear. That's gear. It's just such a hair split. You spoke a bit about the end game and the others that showed off that mentioned it's the beginning of a different type of game for Diablo 4. Can you talk about what that means? Not necessarily everybody understands the idea of an end game. I think they're familiar with New Game Plus, almost start over being stronger, but the idea of end game is really about what happens when the story is over. Is there still a game there to play? And that's something that we're really proud about with Diablo 4. Diablo 3, when it released 10 years ago, didn't have an end game. When you finished the story, you were done there. There really wasn't a reason to keep playing and get more powerful and go have new experiences, where with Diablo 4, we're actually putting a lot of effort into having an end game at launch. I think what you said is really important. We know that it's fun to build a character and discover all of these different powerful builds, and also think it's really important to have content to test yourself against. So we've really tried to expand the variety of activities. And as Rod said, the game, when you finish the campaign, you might be level 45 or something. Your character level goes up to 100 through Paragon points, and you get access to Whispers, you get access to Nightmare Dungeons, other endgame activities that we're still working on. We really wanted you to have a wide variety of things to do, and of course, you've got world tiers that are allowing you to step up the keep, make sure that that difficulty of the world stays on pace with the power of your character level. And to unlock those, you actually need to prove to complete a dungeon to access the more difficult content. So it goes back to the idea of making a build, making it powerful, and then testing yourself against some challenge. This is the spiral staircase I've described before of gearing up to go up. You gear up to go up, and it gives you a sense of power and progress. Ferguson. So a Paragon system, if you play Diablo 3, the Paragon system was just basically sliders on a couple of different aspects of your character. In Diablo 4, Paragon is an actual board. Think of it as a checkerboard. It's much more granular than that, but for simplicity's sake, say a checkerboard. And you have to navigate your way by unlocking squares as you move across the board. Each of those squares could be +5 strength or a different ability or something that enhances your skills. And so you're able to click these different boards together and make your own path through. That's one of the things we really like about Diablo 4. Even if Joe and I were both creating a barbarian, and even if we both wanted to be whirlwind barbarians as an example, we could still have completely different builds. And that's what really makes Diablo 4 unique. We're not ending up at the same place. There's a lot of games where when you're done, everybody's the same, and that's not the case in Diablo 4. And so I think people are going to love the new Paragon system. That idea is so much richer than we've ever had before as a Paragon system, and when you see that it can do to the character, you really want to find the optimal path across the board, and then when you go to connect the next board, you can actually rotate it to pick the path that you want to go through. It's a really cool system. So to me, the most encouraging thing about this dialogue is how willing they are to kind of compare it to Diablo 3 and show where Diablo 3 didn't fall short. I'll say stop short. It's like, yeah, Diablo 3 did great stuff, but here is where it stopped short. It didn't go all the way down the road. It didn't do this or it didn't do that. I think that's a really important thing to point out, that they are totally willing to point at Diablo 3 and be like, this was such a great starting point, but we want to go further than where we went with Diablo 3. Now, if they decide to go pay to win with this game, I don't know. I think it'll be absolutely wreck it. It'll wreck it. It'll absolutely wreck it. Like his one tweet, it's almost like he's trying to say, this isn't a mobile game. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that one tweet, he's trying to say it without saying it. It's almost like, look, man, we're building a Diablo. We ain't building some freaking mobile game. The Paragon sounds like a ripoff of PoE system. Okay. If they go pay to win, then simple, I just won't play. Yeah. I don't think what happened on Metacritic is lost on them. I think they know that if they try this crap with a PC console game, it simply won't work. I don't think people will accept it. They're too far in development to switch to pay to win. I bought Diablo 3 way back in the day at launch. I played for 2 months and literally dropped it until Reaper of Souls came to console later, years later. Yeah. I obviously am concerned. I am concerned. I think my concern is different, though. Like I said earlier, that my concern about the whole pay to win and the monetization thing, I actually come at this from a completely different angle of concern. I think if there's a concerted effort from YouTubers like Josh Strife Hayes and others to draw a line in the sand and act like cosmetic, I bought your game at full price. You shouldn't have monetization. You shouldn't have a cosmetic store. You shouldn't have a vanity store. If that mentality gets weight and gets traction, and people don't support this game monetarily, then that would be the concern. Then I think you'd create this grand irony. You'd create a grand irony. You'd give them plenty of reason to give Diablo 4 mobile treatment. You'd motivate them to say, well, frick these PC console babies, frick them. Let's just focus our efforts on Immortal. Like, they cut DLC from Diablo 3 because they didn't think that the game hadn't done so well. There was a whole interview about this. Like, they didn't know that Reaper of Souls and Loot 2.0 was going to be that successful. They didn't know that. So the DLC that was planned after Reaper got canceled, okay? Why? Because they looked at the game and they were like, no, we're not backing anymore on this game. If Diablo 4 is commercially successful, but then the ongoing monetary support from the community is mixed and people are, being negative, then it wouldn't surprise me if Blizzard's like, just cut years 2 and up. Support it for a year, deliver all the stuff that's already built, but support that we had planned for this game, DLC seasons, expansions, and years 2 plus, years 2, 3, and 4. No, cut it. No, cut it. We can funnel our efforts over to Immortal. Doesn't have to be insidious as Immortal to be problematic. Could be something as simple as XP boosters or drop increases. Asmon was making the point that Diablo has to be super careful because you can buy World of Warcraft gold for real money, and historically, you can transfer World of Warcraft gold to Diablo currency. Oh. Yeah, that could be bad. That could be bad. At the 2 p.m., by the way. Okay, that's. I was actually thinking of that's when we'd end up over there, Creature, so that works. Ubisoft is doing an Assassin's Creed Celebration stream airing tomorrow, which might be a signal of a game announcement. What time are they doing that? Because there's an extended Microsoft Bethesda stream tomorrow that we were going to cover. June 14th at 9 a.m. Pacific, 10, 11, 12. That's an hour before. It doesn't say how long it's going to be. Yeah, it's just a celebration stream. It's an hour before the Microsoft Bethesda Extended. I'm going to say it's the game dev's job to make me want to spend more money and do so in a positive or at least not a negative way. And when you are down on the ropes for the past bad decisions. I didn't say we owed them anything, just that's the way the world works. Right, like that's been my point, is that the irony of gamer dialogue, right? This is just some of the ironies that I see in like gamer YouTube dialogue. Is like, just listen to some of the contradictions that we've had to kind of bathe in for the past week, okay? So prior to this year, anytime Game Fest would come up and people would see these big, huge hype announcements and teaser trailers, they'd end up getting really angry because those teaser trailers led to extremely long, delays or release dates that are so far out in the future, or it leads to a product landing that's far removed from the actual product that they showed us when it first came out. And then we had nothing but complaints from Summer Game Fest all the way till yesterday about the lack of big announcements in big games, because most of them were focusing on gameplay that they could show us right now or games launching in the next 12 months. I actually applaud the Summer Game Fest thing that Keighley did. I applaud the Xbox Bethesda Showcase, the Future Game Show, and the IGN Expo, primarily focus on games that you can actually showcase that have launch dates within the next 12 months. I thought that was wonderful. I thought it was a huge change of pace. And yet, people griped and complained and moaned the entire time, and it's like, you gripe and complain and moan when they do go overboard and have a bunch of hype and have a bunch of teasers and have a bunch of non-starter trailers to just fill it in with hype with no substance. So that's a contradiction in gamers and in the gaming community that I've consistently seen in the 8 years that I've covered live events and conferences. Now, the other thing that I'm noticing that is seemingly creating the very thing that it says that it's against is this idea that we need to absolutely beat the snot out of any game that tries to monetize itself beyond initial sale. So they're supposed to sell their game for $60 and then shut the frick up. Don't charge me for a battle pass. Don't have a cosmetic store. Don't do any of that. Don't have any of that nickel and diming. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And all you've done is create an entitled, penny-pinching mentality in the gaming world that's driving game development companies away from you. You're driving them away. Because you're basically saying, we won't support ongoing monetization. We think that's bogus. We won't support a $10 price increase. We won't support it. We want everything for free or for pennies. And the irony of doing that is you're driving these game developers to say, why don't we just make mobile games? At least we'll make money. At least we'll make money. Those people will willingly spend. So it's ironic. It's like you're pushing for something that's contrary to what you want. I've said for years, I want my developers, I want my games to make buckets of cash. I want them to be Scrooge McDuck swimming in cash so they keep making awesome games for me. Because if they're not swimming in cash, they're going to walk. They're going to walk. And this idea that, like, you can't pay extra for, like, the $10 optional thing with Ghost of Tsushima is a classic debate that we had. People just unwilling to spend for extra dev time, extra features. And it's like, if you don't support it, then they'll stop making it. Games were not 20 to 30 in the 90s. Yeah, who is saying that? I grew up in the 90s, games were 20 to 30 bucks, and I got all the content. No, that's false. I was buying console cartridges for $50 and $60 in the 90s. I don't know where you were buying your games, out of the back of some guy's truck who stole them, but when you went to the store, cartridges were $50 and $60. And the size of those games could fit on a thumb drive that, like, the UI of an Assassin's Creed game fits on. Like, just the data that it takes to build and structure the UI of Assassin's Creed is larger than most of the games you played back then. Go back and play those games. Do it. Go back and play The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. It's going to make you, you're going to get 3 hours of game time out of it, maybe. Ocarina of Time, what, 5 or 6 hours of game time if you really go exhaustive? Maybe 8 if you're just god-awful slow. Like, those games were $50 and $60, and yeah, I got a complete game. Yeah, and it was the size of a mission in some of these MMORPGs. I don't disagree with everything you were saying, but I don't think PC games turn to AAA mobile games. Oh, you don't want them. I know that's not what you want, Hilly. Because, I mean, I saw you retweeted Josh Strife Hayes' tweet, and I'm like, listen, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you're going to continue to slap the hand of any developer that tries to monetize its game beyond initial purchase, you're part of the problem. If you're going to smack their hand anytime these companies try to make money beyond initial purchase, you're part of the problem. You're creating this air of deliver a AAA, absolute, amazing game for $60 and then leave me the frick alone. Like, don't charge for anything after that. It's like, that's not solvent, man. Ocarina of Time's only like 300 or 600 megs on as a virtual disc. There's nothing there. It's a great game. It's amazing. It was industry defining, but it's teeny tiny. You didn't read my tweet correctly? I read his tweet. I'm not necessarily talking about your tweet, Hilly. I saw you retweet it. I'm saying his sentimentality about, like, if it's a full price game, there shouldn't be cosmetics for sale. I actually didn't take the time to, like, read what you said because I was just, like, getting ready. I was like, oh, I saw Josh Strife Hayes' tweet thread. Hilly retweeted it as well. I want the total upfront cost, yes. I don't ask that they sell for 60. You want total upfront costs. I don't understand what you mean. You think they should charge more upfront? You'd be happier with that? You can check out the quarterly update. Did they push it out? Is the quarterly update on Diablo live? If so, yes, we'll read through it. We got about 30 minutes to kill before we go over to radio. Okay, so Hilly, you're like me. You're like me to an extent. I'm of the same mind. Like, yeah, I would pay $70 or $80 up front. I would. But the market research is just not, it's just not there. They can't do it. People would be angry. Look at what happened when they had the optional extra $10 for Tsushima Director's Cut. I remember paying $80 for a Nintendo cartridge for Legend of Mana. Going down. The big game conferences ended and gameplay is huge for us. Immortal's concerning, but it's a mobile game, and that's how they're monetized. Immortal is not a Diablo game. It's a mobile forced by the greed of Activision. Microsoft knows their console PC customers. Do it. Don't spend any on microtransactions. If the game costs $300, tell me that. Show me the game, and maybe I buy. Parents paid $80 for Street Fighter 2 on the SNES. They bought it for me back in the day from Toys R Us. Back then, a new game was $69 to $79 for the first month, the way I remember it. Yeah, it was pretty expensive. Gaming was an expensive hobby back in the day, dude. It wasn't cheap. It was not cheap. We bought a joystick, you know, like the joypad for the original Nintendo. You could like hold the joystick and tap the buttons. We bought that for like $50, and we didn't like it, and we went back and traded it for Mario Kart. And I think we had to pay an extra $10. I think Mario Kart was literally $60. I was like, what this dude talking about? I had to mow like 6 lawns that day to buy it. Diablo 3 didn't get the support it needed, and they took too long to get the content to drop. Oh, no, I don't disagree with that. I don't think you can look at the interview where a DLC for Diablo 3 was canceled, okay, because the support for 3 was bad initially. Now, some of that was deserved. It was. The auction house and the problems, Diablo 3 deserved that. But because of that, they made the decision to cut DLC. Don't pretend they won't do the same dadgum thing to Diablo 4. If the quarterly reports come in or the annual reports come in and they're like, no, man, the sales aren't there, bro. Like, yeah, people aren't supporting the game. They're not buying stuff. They're boycotting the store. They're boycotting the cosmetics. Like, you know what I mean? Welcome to the campfire 36 minutes ago. Is this the quarterly update? Yeah, here we go. We can read through this. Let me pull it up for you. They posted a quarterly update like 36 minutes ago. Should have been reading it 36 minutes ago. I wasn't paying attention. I'm going to get over here and out of the way. Hello and welcome to the mid-year Diablo quarterly update. We hope you enjoyed last quarter's behind-the-scenes look at the art in the Sanctuary of the Dungeons. Take a moment to congratulate Diablo Immortal on its launch. The Immortal team worked incredibly hard to bring Diablo life to mobile. It's exciting, blah, blah, blah. Today we're going to look at the final launch class, the Necromancer. Now that it's been announced on the big screen, we can jump into some of the grittier details and mechanics of the class. You can think of this blog as a companion to that announcement, with our lead class designer Adam Jackson going to a deep dive into the core playstyles of the Necromancer, some of its skills, and its unique class mechanic, Book of the Dead. We also will take a look at a selection of the incredible armor and weapons that the Necromancer can use. We're committed to the principle of player choice. It shapes how we approach many of our systems, from character customization to the density and layout of your open world to the design of our classes and builds. As you'll see below, the Book of the Dead focuses on the idea of choice and what kind of Necromancer you want to be. We hope you enjoy this update and look forward to your thoughts and reactions later this year. You can expect to hear more about how we plan to support Diablo after launch, including our plans for seasons. We're grateful to have you with us on this journey. So right there, Joe Shelley. So later this year, we're going to hear about how they're going to support Diablo after launch, including their plans for seasons. So we will know this year what that's all going to look like. So I'm gonna skip over the fluff and go right here. I'm gonna go right here. The Necromancer has two different types of resources that they use: essence and corpses. The essence is their primary resource, which restores itself automatically at a slow rate. Using basic skills on the Necromancer will also grant essence, allowing them to cast their skills more often. Corpses, on the other hand, are the leftover remains of the enemies who die near the Necromancer. These remains can be used to summon skeletal minions or to power various other skills, such as Corpse Explosion. In addition to appearing when enemies are killed near Necromancer, corpses can also be generated via various effects, giving you additional control over how often you want to interact with them. While there will be plenty of corpses at a baseline level, we're aware that some players will want to lean into this resource, and as a result have included plenty of options to ensure they are not left wanting. As for weapons and other unique gear, 2 minutes apparently about the gear and swords. Necromancers use swords, daggers, wands, focuses, and shields. In addition to these, they're also the only class that can use scythes. So they're the only class that can use a scythe. So we're getting a pretty good look here. Let's go full screen. Why do these embedded YouTube videos not let you go full screen? It's so awkward. Nice look at the gear here for the Necro. Sadly, gonna have to watch this after, probably, if we want full screen. Tell you what, we'll watch that full screen in a moment. Additionally, what self-respecting Necromancer would be running around the world of Sanctuary without curses? We're happy to say that you'll be able to put these nasty debuffs on your enemies to your heart's content with skills like Decrepify and Iron Maiden making a return. Playstyles. The Necromancer has 4 high-level playstyles that players can choose between. These playstyles are Bone, Darkness, Blood, and Army. Bone. Bone skills are relatively physical in nature and thus benefit more heavily from effects such as Critical Strike. These skills also benefit from having and spending large amounts of essence, as they have various effects that can use each of their individual attacks to be even more powerful. Bone Spirit is back in Diablo 4 and now has a unique twist that exemplifies what bone skills are all about. Bone Spirit not only has a cooldown, but also consumes all essence that the player currently has. Once cast, a Spirit Bone is conjured that seeks out the nearest enemy. Upon reaching them, the spirit will explode, dealing a high amount of damage to the target and all other enemies in that area. This damage is increased by a certain percentage per point of essence spent, meaning that players who spend the maximum amount of essence will deal a significant amount of damage to enemies hit. The skill can also be upgraded so that when it critically strikes, its cooldown is significantly reduced, meaning that players who commit to generating lots of essence while also having a high critical strike chance will get lots of damage from this skill. Apparently, PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium works with console sharing. Yeah, I haven't even checked that today. I want to upgrade and go check it out. Oh, they have a video. Man, I'm so bummed all these videos are hitting at the end. We could have watched these. Okay, so that's him using, oops. Let me loop it. So this is him using a bone thing. He like puts it on the ground and it comes up through the ground, it looks like. Yeah, almost like a trap. like a trap. Bone Prison is what that one's called. It's great for blocking off hallways, trapping groups of enemies inside to set them up for an AoE attack, or for simply sectioning off a group of enemies to deal with later so you can handle high priority targets. Darkness. Darkness skills use shadow magic to overwhelm their enemies. These kinds of attacks tend to be dot-based, damage over time, or attack multiple times in short windows, with various benefits and rewards being granted for damaging enemies in this way. Darkness skills also tend to have various debuffs and crowd control elements so that they can keep their enemies at bay while they die a slow, painful death. Decompose is a basic darkness skill that allows you to channel dark magic onto enemies, dealing damage to them while also generating essence. Unlike other basic skills, Decompose also periodically summons corpses. Okay, here we go. Let's loop this one. Another darkness skill is Blight. Blight launches a ball of dark energy in a direction. Upon hitting an enemy or expiring, it deals an explosion of damage. You can see him using it there. This skill deals a high amount of damage to enemies who are standing in place, whether that's due to fighting your undead minions or being contained via other skills like Bone Prison. Blood. Necromancers can also use the power of blood magic to siphon the life of their enemies. Not only do these skills tend to have defensive-oriented benefits, they also have many ways to turn that defense into offense for the player, empowering them and rewarding them for having large amounts of maximum health, as well as keeping their current health total high. Blood Surge draws a small amount of blood from nearby enemies, and the Necromancer that expels the Blood Nova, dealing damage near the enemy's player's location. The damage of the Blood Nova is increased per enemy drained, which incentivizes you to be in the middle of a pack of enemies. Another blood skill is Blood Mist. Upon activation, the Necromancer disperses into a bloody mist, becoming temporarily immune to all damage while draining the life of any nearby enemies that they pass through. This is a universally powerful defensive skill that can give you the time you need to regroup in those dire moments where you become overwhelmed. The army. As you would expect, necromancers can summon the undead to do their bidding. We also allow players to specialize in empowering their army as much as possible, which includes various kinds of skeletons as well as the classic golem. One advantage of this method of playing is that it can easily incorporate the benefits of bone, darkness, or blood skills, allowing you to have a great deal of customization with how you want to interact with your army. As an example, we believe it to be perfectly viable to have a player pursue a darkness-themed army build with Decompose as their basic skill to generate corpses, as there is an obvious synergy there. However, if the player wishes to generate corpses via another means, they can just as easily take a nostalgia trip to the year 2000 and just chuck bone spears at their enemies from a distance while opting for all bone skill synergies that the Necromancer has to offer. We went through a lot of iteration on how we want the experience of summoning the undead to feel for the player and how much of their skill bar should be dedicated to this part of the class. To that end, we've come up with what we feel is the best possible version to ensure that players have as much customization as possible over not only the army itself, but also over the other skills that they want to use to support their own unique playstyle. If a player wants to have a maximum number of summoned units possible, then they will have to dedicate 2 buttons to their skill bar, one to raising skeletons and the other for their golem. The raise skeleton button is a one-stop shop to raise all the different skeletons a player can summon, and the golem button is used to command the golem to use a unique effect that is dependent upon the type of the golem that is currently active. With this setup, we have found a great balance between having the necessary tools for raising and commanding a necromancer army while also leaving room for player expression and additional skills that they want to put on their bar. Book of the Dead. So this is the thing we already looked at. The Book of the Dead is his way of customizing his stuff. The Necromancer's unique class mechanic. Right from the moment you log in, you will start with an extra skill on your bar, Raise Skeleton. With this button, you will immediately be able to raise undead warriors to fight you side by side. In addition to this, you'll have access to the Book of the Dead. This is the space where you can customize your army. Now, not everybody has Book of the Dead, so this is something specific to him. So the other classes will likely have something analogous to this, but they don't have it. It's not called the Book of the Dead. So you can see here, we looked at this already. You can take your skeletal warriors, make them skirmishers, defenders, or reapers, and then each of these have upgrades and sacrificial benefits. So there's 2 upgrades you can select from. I believe this is like a toggle. And then if you want to have them, you can sacrifice them. So sacrificing is when you get rid of them. And then you get like a benefit from them being sacrificed. I think that's all really, really good stuff. I think that they've, you know, it's cool to see how thoughtful they've been with each individual class. I like it. I do. It looks good. Tons of new subscribers today. Thank you everybody who has hit the subscribe button or the like button on this video. This one didn't quite keep the steam and momentum that Starfield did, but still great to see people super interested. Still a very strong stream. Let's point ourselves at 400 likes if possible. Hit 400 likes if you possibly can. Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas and Duke Nukem. Those are all games you can play through PlayStation Plus. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's crazy that those are in there. Because Fallout 3 and New Vegas are Bethesda games. So what? Yeah, that's interesting that they're a part of PlayStation Plus Premium and PlayStation Plus Extra. Or is that Premium that you're looking at? Which one are you looking at? You can play Microsoft games on PS Plus. Yeah, that's interesting because I wonder if if that was something that was contractual before the merger, and Bethesda's honoring that. That would just point to the fact that the PS Plus plans have been in motion for a very, very long time. I just loaded up the new version of PS Plus, and they did not tell you everything that was coming. It's loaded. It's the classic library for the highest tiers. Do you know what didn't happen yesterday? Microsoft didn't say anything about Ubisoft or Ubisoft Classics. I think that adds to our theory that Ubisoft is about to get purchased by Sony, because if they would have been able to say coming to Xbox Game Pass Ubisoft Classics, I think they would have included that in yesterday's showcase. And they didn't. So I think Ubisoft Classics was built specifically for Sony, either purely on a contractual basis that Sony paid for, or it's a signpost saying and pointing to the fact that Ubi is likely getting purchased by Sony. That's very possible. We said that would have shot that down in flames, remember? We were like, yeah, that would probably shoot it down in flames if it was announced. If they announced at their showcase that they were working with Ubi, it would have shot down the buyout rumor pretty quickly. Literally every Ratchet that exists, yeah. Crack in Time, All for One, Full Frontal Assault, Nexus, Quest for Booty. Yeah. Looking good. If the contract language requires those games to continue to be on Sony, might as well add them to the subservice. No advantage in keeping them off. Probably true. Probably true. Think of your top 3 games from yesterday's showcase that got you hyped. I thought Starfield and Redfall looked great, and then High on Life looked phenomenal. High on Life looked really, really cool. Throughout the entire week, the ones that really stood out to me from the entire Summer Games Fest to like the Future Game Show to the IGN Expo, Morbid Metal has been a big showstopper for me. I thought Morbid Metal looked incredible. I also really, really liked Instinction, looked amazing. And some of the ones from the PC Game Show, Deliver Us Mars, things like that. You know, Deceive Incorporated looks like it could be like a fun little hit. So yeah, those are some big ones from the entire time. But from Microsoft, yeah, High on Life and Starfield and Redfall, I thought all were very, very dope. So yeah, can we get 4 more likes on the video? Smash that like button. Take our poll at the top of the chat. Hey, we hit 1,000 votes. This was still an absolutely killer stream. We're still not done, by the way. We're going to head over to radio, and I wanted to give you guys my rundown and thoughts on Summer Game Fest. I want to give you my rundown and thoughts on the PC Gaming Show, as well as the Xbox Bethesda Showcase. I want to give my thoughts on those. And so we're actually going to head over there. We are going to head over there now. Again, let's get those last couple likes on this video. Let me end that poll. So I'm going to put a link in chat just in case redirect doesn't work. Redirect has actually been very, very good. This is the main hub and main channel, so make sure you're subscribed here. Make sure your membership's active here. So many new members. We're like 20-something members away from another emote unlock. We did unlock the steak with ketchup. That's going to happen. I told Madam to get me one. We'll figure out when and where we're going to do that. That's going to be members only. If you're a new member, make sure you watch those past broadcasts of Madam and I playing through the Quarry. All 3 parts. It was hysterical. It was kind of like a watch party of a scary movie. Make sure you get into the Discord. So the link in chat is where we are headed next, just to kind of put a nice cherry on top. And then tomorrow we'll be doing a lead topic in the morning, probably 2 lead topics, and then we will watch the Microsoft. Actually, we might just do 1 lead topic, but I know we'll be watching the Xbox Bethesda Extended Showcase. Apparently new things, new gameplay, new things to watch. So click the link in chat or just ride the redirect. We're going to head over to Reforge Radio right now. Should be a great discussion. And thanks for supporting this channel as well as all of our channels here at Reforge Media.